Hey, I'm Andy, and welcome to Rock, Roll, and Red Plaid. Oh my goodness, we are on the Rock, Roll, Red Plaid podcast.
All right.
And wouldn't you know, we're with Rev Jones. And on top of that, Rev Jones, you are the 50th episode of the... So we're reaching a milestone today with Rev Jones. What about that? How do you say?
I love it. Perfect.
All right, man. Well, I got to say real quick off the bat, the first time, and I think I mentioned this to you a little, we were emailing back and forth before we did this. The first time I became aware of your playing and your stuff was when you were with Mountain doing the opening, the Satriani tour, which is, oh my goodness, I can't even remember what year that was, but 08, 09, something like that?
Eight, I think eight.
Eight, okay.
Yeah.
And that album Satch did that year was still been one of my favorites, so it's like, the fact that I missed that tour, I'm like, especially now that Leslie's no longer with us, it's like, kicking myself now, I tell you. But,
Yeah.
is what it is. But
Yeah.
glad to
It was a
have
good
you.
tour.
Oh man, it looked good. He did vlogs before everybody else did vlogs. It was great.
Yeah, that guy, he would film all day, every day. That's all he did was walk around. I remember being in, and I was in about 6 or 7 of them, but I would see him out. We'd be walking around, say we're in El Paso or something. I'd look over and there he'd be filming everything, and I'd walk over like I didn't know him, and get into another episode. But,
oh boy, those were. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, but they said that he would shoot like 40 hours worth of stuff, and they said he'd sit in the back of the bus every night, and he'd go through and I don't know if he was just from here to here I'm keeping this, delete, just going through all the stuff, and and he'd put out those.
Yeah, he would.
They were like 8 minutes long, some of them, and,
yeah, the longer of them. If I find one, I'll splice it in. But there was when you had a mic behind the stage and you give like this big, glorious introduction to you guys when Mountain went out. I'm like, oh, that was so great to see like that kind of little behind the scenes clip. There was so great.
Gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome to the stage Rev Jones, Corky Lang, Leslie West, Mountain.
So I did that every night.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So maybe the first night our tour manager did it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then like the second night, he wasn't back there. Like there was some reason that he wasn't there. And so Leslie looked at me, hey, get over there and do it. So I grabbed the mic and did the intro.
Man.
And then it became, all right, every night. So we would all be on stage left at Monitor World. I'd have a mic on a stand waiting for me. Everybody'd stand around it.
I love it.
I would deliver the intro and Mountain, and then I'd have to run full speed behind the backdrop to get to the other side to come out on my side of the stage.
Sure. Because trio, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what a perfect name for a band with someone like Leslie West to be in. His tone and even his voice, a mountain of sound. Seems so obvious,
Yeah.
Oh man. Real quick.
Actually, the first album, Mountain. The first album was Leslie West, and the album was called Mountain.
Oh, okay.
And Felix played on it and produced it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually a Leslie West album called Mountain.
Okay.
But that's what actually turned into Mountain. Corky didn't play on it, but he was in like immediately. He was the drummer. So
Yeah, I mean, so incredible. Your musical resume spans many a miles here, Rev. Which also, where did Rev come from? It seems the energy. It seems to be.
Uh, it's long for R.
Eh, that's all right.
It's been with me since I was a little kid.
Fair,
So,
fair, fair, fair.
and you can say people would say it's because of it started because of Jim Jones. My name
Mhm.
is James Jones. So when I was a kid and that happened with Jim Jones and Guyana, people used to like try to make fun of me by, oh,
Yeah.
Reverend James Jones. And then it turned
Uh,
into, because I'm, so overly amped with my ADHD that it's like, hey, rev it up.
I love it.
So, and then
Yeah.
eventually it just stuck.
I mean, I love it. It's just, yeah. I joined the club. We have T-shirts. Yours truly on the autism spectrum is an into of himself. So hey, it's all
Yeah.
well and good. So
If you're not on the spectrum somewhere, you suck.
well,
You're not trying hard enough.
no, you're not there yet. Anyways, oh my gosh, going back for a quick second, and I'm looking through this whole thing here. It says you started playing bass in 1985. Who was the first bass player you looked at? And just went, boom, I want to do that.
Uh, there was a lot. I mean, bass player wise, it would have been like Chris Squire. Because
Yes.
I grew up. Yes, was in my band. King Crimson was in my band. So, and I always loved. To this day, Tony Levin is still my favorite bass player.
Wow. Yeah.
Everything. I mean, even stuff I didn't realize. Like I'd hear a song, I'd go, man, I love whoever that bass player is because you used to not know. And then
Sure.
later I'd find out, oh, it's Tony Levin.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that makes sense. It's not what he does; it's like his choice of notes and
Yeah.
how he gets this, the sound, Peter Gabriel stuff, all that.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
as for that would be the bass playing part of it. The crazy, like let's put on a show part would probably be Pete Way,
Okay.
UFO.
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's who Steve Harris, all those guys, they all
Yeah.
wanted to be Pete Way. So
Mhm.
I used to. I used to kind of idolize the way he was on stage, and which was great because then, fast forward a bunch of years, and I'm playing with Michael Schenker, so I'm
Hey.
actually, playing those songs. And the first tour I did with Schenker, Pete Way was on the tour,
Oh
and
wow.
him and Schenker did this kind of punk rock album. The band was called The Plot.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
and it was him and Jeff Martin and Schenker, and
Mm.
they had did it the same time we had did that MSG album, Beware Scorpion. So it's like the
Mhm.
same period.
Mhm.
So when we did this tour, Pete came out, and so right in the middle of the MSG show, me and the singer would leave, and Pete would come out and play bass and sing, and they would do like 4 or 5 of these, short punk rock songs, and then he would leave. I'd come back, and we'd do, a couple of instrumentals, and then finish our show out. And then me and Pete would both be on the last song, which is the only UFO song we did on that tour, which is Doctor Doctor. So I'd be on one side doing my Pete Way, imitation, and
Yeah.
he would be doing his, his Pete Way imitation. And so it was like unreal. Wow. Not only am I getting to be friends with this guy, I grew up,
Yeah.
watching play, but I'm actually on stage playing with him.
It's
So
amazing.
that was pretty awesome. But
Yeah.
that was the guys.
Yeah.
That was the guys that triggered it, I guess.
Sure. Sure. Don't you love when you get to that moment when you're playing over the years, and next thing you know, it's like, hey, wait a second, I listened to that guy as a kid. Now I'm doing something with him, and that a trip, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, that's everybody. I mean, that's one thing I'm fortunate of is the two biggest guys that I played with, which would be Shanker and Leslie. I grew up listening to them. I'd actually played all those Shaker and UFO songs hundreds of times before I ever played them with him. Same with Leslie.
Yeah.
When I never went back and I never went back and learned the songs when I got in Mountain because I knew them all, and I would just I improvised everything I played. So it might sound like I was playing it note for note, but it just because I would play something that Felix would have played or that Jack
Mm.
Bruce would have played if we're doing West Bruce playing, you know. So it was I didn't learn them note for note. I just learned I knew how those guys played them. So in
Yeah.
my head, I would hear the run and I would just do it. But yeah, there was many weird time on stage when I just looked over and thought, I'm playing with Leslie West. And then a couple of times I'm on stage playing with Leslie and Shaker. And I'm just like,
Whoa, really?
yeah, because it was
Oh man.
a couple of times that uh, when I was on tour with Shanker and we played in New York, Leslie would come out
Of course,
and
yeah.
play. And then there was a time I wasn't playing with Shanker and he was doing a thing at the NAMM show with a bunch of guests,
Yeah, yeah.
Warranty Martini, people like that were coming
Sure.
up. And he had Leslie coming up, and Leslie said, "Well, Rev's got to come with me." And Michael's like, "Oh yes, please." So I got to play with them both, several times. It was
Oh boy.
pretty
Oh,
pretty cool. I mean, if
yeah.
nothing else cool happens to me, I had that.
That's
You know?
yeah. Hey, it's like similar. When the last album I did, had they told me before we started doing that Ray Luzier and Billy Sheehan are going to be coming in for a track, I'm like, okay, so you're basically telling me the power trio that exists with me playing guitar and singing are my favorite drummer and bassist. You start pinching yourself. It's like, whoa,
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Oh man, it's crazy, and it's so great we get to do these things.
yeah.
Amongst all these like laundry list of people you've played, which is really incredible to see. The list it goes on and on. Shanker, Mountain, the George Thorogood stuff. You said you tech for him though.
Yeah, yeah. So I used to for years, early 2000s.
Hmm.
I'd come off the road from playing, and I'd work for a lighting company,
Okay.
here in Oklahoma, and I would always do these, string of shows with, Thorogood was coming through Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas,
Yeah.
Missouri, and they would use our company, so they would request me because I knew the songs. And
Mm.
so I would do lights. So then, like '06, I guess '05, '06, uh, I had downtime from
Hmm.
playing, and they needed a light guy. So I actually started going out and doing lights for them. And I'd come off that tour and go right back out playing with Shanker or, Mountain or did Steelheart later,
Yep. Yep.
and I kept it going for a few years. And then it got to be, they started doing this. So I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But about 10 years ago, 9.5 years ago, something like that.
Hmm.
It was right after my son was born. I got a call and, hey, we need somebody to fill in and, be the guitar tech.
Mm.
And they wanted somebody that Thorogood already knew and somebody that, could do the job. And,
Yep.
even if it was just for this 1 month. And at
Sure.
the time I was still playing with Leslie, but we were only doing fly days, like, and only on the East Coast because he had already lost his leg. So they got, less and less. And then I was playing with Steelheart and we were doing fly dates. So
Mm.
it was like, all right, well, I'd rather be making money right now than, not. And
Sure.
so I got a guy, Martin Anderson, filled in with Steelheart for me. And I went out and did Thorogood. And I was really only going to do it for, a couple of runs, whatever. And, but the money is too good. The job is great. I mean, I already like working on guitars anyway. I
Mm.
always do all of my stuff. And, so that, and the fact that it's all music related anyway,
Sure.
it's no different than, oh, I'm producing this, I'm engineering this. It's kind of the same deal.
Sure. Yeah.
It all has to do with music. And, so I kept going and kept going. And then, that's actually why really the reason I left Steelheart was that I had Martin filling in, for quite a while. And I was like, hey, I'm just leaving, and, I just had him take it over, then he moved on to Lita Ford and,
Sure.
uh, and I still talk, actually, I just talked to Millie, the singer in Steelheart last night.
Right.
Still, we're
Yeah.
still, cordial.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that I had
course.
to do it because in this age of fly dates, it's one show, but it's 3 days because you got to fly there and fly home. So financially, it doesn't matter what level. It's always, it's a little bit hard, on the money.
Sure.
It's it's either do that and, deliver pizzas when you're home or go out and, do it.
I hear you.
But working for George is great,
Nice.
And I've actually played a couple of shows where I filled in on guitar, which is, guitar's easy to me. Little bitty strings, little bitty frets.
Yes, of course.
But,
yes.
But but it's a great gig. Thorogood and the Destroyers, man, they're, it's like family,
Awesome. It does seem like that vibe. It's very close and communal and everything, and everybody seems to have each other's backs in a tour like that,
Oh yeah, and everybody is as important as the band members, it really is truly like that. It's like, George is the most important because if he's not there, it's not the show. But I'm that important because everything he's playing, if I don't do my job right, he's bad. The front of house guy, same deal.
Yeah.
He's not making it sound great. It's not on him. It's on the band. So everybody, the whole organization, all the way down to, his personal assistant that has to get him the right bandana and, the right pants to wear. All those things are, and it's also that organization that understands that. A lot of them, and I won't say any names, but people that sing in huge hair metal bands that tour by themselves now in casinos, they treat their bands and, crews so terrible, especially when they're making $100,000 a show, paying the guys, a couple of $100 a show, and everybody's on one bus, and you're here, or he's here, and they're here, and it shows when I go to if I go to one of those, those shows and I see that, it shows to me, it's like, that's not cool. But then you go see, those kind of bands like Styx and stuff that have been going forever, and they treat their crew like the band,
Right.
It's obvious when you see the show,
Oh yeah.
And,
it's, with lack of a better term, this just came to my mind. What's that old bit from Seinfeld where he made the Yankee players play in different fiber uniforms? They're more comfortable. They're going to play better until the uniform shrunk, of course. But
exactly.
But it's the same theory, though. It's like if they're enjoying themselves and they're out there, they're not going to be like, oh God, I got to do this for this guy again, whatever. Yeah. But
and some people forget that over time. They might start out, like it's all about this, and then they get to this level, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
People, I mean, I've witnessed it so many times as an outsider, that I'm just like, man, that's just so terrible. And I know that if I can witness it, that other people have to figure it out too.
Yeah. There's kind of a whiff of it in the air,
Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's also, it shows in bands, I mean, it's like, that's one thing that I've been fortunate with is the majority of bands that I've been in are people I've played with are all super with each other, like it's not really like, all right, I hired you, go stand over there. It's all right. You're in the band, bring it in. Let's make this the right way. And then there's been a couple that they say that, and then they're like, okay, let's make a band, but you guys go over here and I'm going to be over here, and that might be cool to, the super fans of it, but it ruins the performance on a lot of bands. But
I guess in a similar way you were going to that, like again, the list of people you played, like you mentioned, Steelheart, Mountain, Schenker, all these different people. What are some of the things? I guess you mentioned some of them now, but like some really important things that you wish you could impart on other people who tour and stuff, or starting to tour. Like, what would you that you learned from them?
Well, the main thing I would say to people is enjoy yourself. I mean, luckily, whenever I first started touring, and I actually appreciate it. We would, like especially the early days of Michael Schenker, we were mostly in Europe, places like that. We didn't have anything to do all day, so when we'd wake up, we'd go, walk around town. We'd see everything, and I was always like that. Now as an old person, I still get out and do certain things, but not as much. But I'm glad I did it then, And I always tell the new kids on tour, hey, go enjoy it, because 100% you might not do it again.
This is
Eventually,
true. Yeah.
eventually it might be 20 years from now that you don't do it, but
Right.
you never know when that, it's funny. It's like, I know lots of, rock stars from the 80s, late 80s, early 90s that, were selling millions of records and making all that money, and that all did the typical thing of, they bought sports cars and big houses and married these, super hot models. And then, a few years later, the money stops coming in and the model leaves with the house and the car, and now they're working. And I know lots of people that fall in that category. And only a handful of them really took, did things to make sure, that they were like that. And even a couple of friends, of mine, like Joey Allen from Warren, he even told me one time, he was telling me a story. He said, like, he knew, and people had warned, it's not going to stay this way. The money flowing in and all of this, and he knew that. But at the same time, he didn't think, okay, it's going to end tomorrow, and he was smart. He did his money well. He's a super intelligent guy, and now it really pays off for him, because Warren's kind of, cherry pies in some new show, and so it's like put this new boost into him, and they've always been out. They haven't really stopped touring, and but they're the rare exception. I know a couple other guys that were in bands selling millions that have no money whatsoever, and that, because you never know. You think, all right, well, look at me. I was playing in Shanker, Mountain, and Steelheart, all three of them, never colliding. For a few years I did this, and then I was always picking up recording stuff and, playing with this guy and playing with this guy. And then right as it slowed down, didn't realize it even slowed down as much as it did, because you're like, oh, I need a break. I'll definitely take 6 months off. And then 7 months later, you're going, hey, I need a gig, because you never know. And one thing that happens too, and that is that sometimes when you get into that position where, oh, wow, now I need to find a gig, sometimes you don't want to as bad, like, maybe I don't want to go out and, play with this band or play with that band. You get more, you start looking at other things in life, differently. But so I would tell anybody that's getting into it is to enjoy it and soak it all in, because, something like COVID happens, I mean, prior to COVID, I played at least 100 shows every year from about 86 to that year. And, it was kind of cool at first, like, oh man, I got a break, but then you start going, hey, what's going on? Am I ever going to play again? You don't know. And I know a lot of people that stopped touring that were, either techs, or some of them, playing, they just stopped, found other means. And, because something I always tell people is that you either love touring or you hate touring. There's no in between. Nobody likes touring. You either love it or hate it.
Yeah.
Which is why there's so many bands that come out and they get like pretty big right off, and they tour for a couple of years straight, and then the guys don't want to tour anymore, and they're young because that's what they wanted to do, and then they got out doing it and they realized, I really don't want to do this. It's not glamorous of walk on stage and there's people, chicks throwing rose petals and you're walking like you're the king of some African country,
The year of Zaire or whatever,
Yeah, exactly. The ruler. Yeah, I'm here.
King Tut.
Yeah, you think it's that way, and instead you're having to duck to get onto the little stage at the crappy venue that somebody booked you at and oversold, to make more money. So it's, there's a lot of those things that make you go, ugh, And just like now, I would never. I don't care what tour it is. I'd never go back and do a tour in a van, just because I can't imagine how like the closest to that would be doing fly dates, because you're in a van and you're in an airplane, you're in a van, and that sucks. If you don't have a bus, I'm not going to do it. And even if it was a high paying one, I don't think I can get in a van. I don't want to. I'm a grown up,
It is kind of a young man's sport,
Yeah, and and this day and age, it's funny because I see some of these bands, and they're in like the little bandwagons. More or less, it's a glorified RV,
Yeah.
And
so Winnebago or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them are set up kind of cool. I went in a couple that, it's almost like a bus, but there's a big difference,
Yeah.
And the comfort of a tour also helps make make everything better. If you're constantly uncomfortable and you're, eating terrible and sleeping like this and all those things, it comes out in your plate, But yeah, that's what I would tell people is enjoy it, take it all in, and know that it's not going to last forever. So you need to make it last forever, or figure out a way to make it last forever. I know so many people that play, but that's all they know how to do is play. They don't have that advantage of, I can go be a tech for somebody. I can, go and start engineering, and
right.
Those are, it'd be kind of like if you only paint houses, but you don't really know any of the business part of painting a house,
Exactly.
You can't really become, a contractor, because you don't know how everything is. If you don't learn that, then in my eyes, you're stupid,
Yeah.
You can work at a muffler shop, or you can own a muffler shop and work at a muffler shop. That's the difference. You have to know everything about what you're doing. And a lot of people don't do it. A lot of people think it's just about, learning how to play, finding the right guys, getting on stage, doing your thing, and, making millions of dollars. And it's not like that.
If only the vast majority of people knew what you just said, and hopefully they will when they see this. So,
yeah, and I'm not lying. Yeah.
No, I know, I hear you. That's my goodness, that like is kind of similar, like we said, when wearing multiple hats, doing different things within the same job. Like I work in a music therapy service with different people of different disabilities, but within that, yes, I play guitar with clients and stuff, but I record. I do producing and sound engineering for songs that they might do. I might do video editing for the social media stuff for the company and all this different stuff. And it's like 3 years I've been there now, and they just said that. I'm like, oh, really? Didn't I just start like 2 weeks ago? No, you've been there 3 years. I'm like, and so it is,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just go ahead.
No, that's what it should be, and that's anything, if any job that you're in, you should know. That's why I tell people, it's one thing, it's awesome if you learn to play basically self-taught, with, just listening to, that's how I learned, listening to records, listening to the old days, you could slow down the turntable a little bit so you could hear that fast lick a little slower,
a little bit,
and learned all the songs, but I was smart enough that I always music is music to me. It doesn't matter if it's country, if it's speed metal, if it's flamenco, whatever. You should know all of it, and you should also know everything about music, whether you whether you're going to really use the theory of it, you should know why things are what they
Yeah.
are, whether you use it, it's kind of like the things you learn in school growing up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those things seem so useless, but everything has some kind of, point in it. It's like I tell people about math. You got to know math. And people are, I hate math. Well, music is math.
It
If you're
is.
good at math, you're going to be good at music. And the biggest reason that I tell people when they, well, why should I know math, is because if you don't know math, you're going to get screwed when it comes to money because
Oh,
you don't
yes.
understand it.
Absolutely.
You cannot be successful money wise if you don't understand some form of math,
Yep.
Otherwise, they're going to go, okay, here's your cut, and here's my cut, and here's your cut, and here's my cut, and you're going to
Yep.
go, what? Oh, yeah, it's because I did this and this. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's your 10%. This is your other 10%. It's mine. It's, you don't, you're not going to understand it. So same with music. I know I tell this to students all the time is that the most important thing about music is that you don't trap yourself into one thing, like, I only play originals. I only play, whatever kind of music it is. I don't do this. Well, you're an idiot. When I was like 17, I played in a speed metal band, and it was like, super fast, all these runs that would be hard for even bands these days to do them. And 5 nights a week, I played country. And it was when country was country. You wasn't adding any extra notes, they'd fire you. You're playing too much up there. This ain't a rock and roll show, And you had to have a cowboy hat on, and you only played country and western. And I did it 5 nights a week. One, it was great because of the money. It's either doing this or you want pepperonis on that,
Exactly.
making peaches. It's kind of the same deal. But because of that, I was able to play in a speed metal band. And I was able to make money, able to look the way I wanted to look, Same with playing covers. I know people that, oh, no, I only play originals. Well, that's fine. When you go play at the coffee shop to, the 8 people that came there to see you, the same 8 people that seen you last time, that's fun. But I'm going to play I'm going to go play some covers with this band called Mountain because it's all covers to me. I was in that band. Michael Schenker, cover band to me, and it's how you look at it.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is that if you're playing in front of a couple of thousand people and you have a choice between playing an original that they've never heard or playing, a Guns N' Roses song that everybody is going to dance to and get into.
Oh, yeah.
Which one are you picking?
Exactly.
You're an entertainer. Entertain them. It's
Exactly.
not playing your own song that's more of an ego thing. I'm going to play you my song. I wrote it. That's great. And if you're on tour and you're selling your album and you're pushing it, that's what you do. But in everyday life, you sneak one in there, but you entertain people. That's why they're there. And people don't look at it. Some people are like, oh, no, I just do this. And I only play this style. Well, the problem is, say you grew up listening to Metallica and you want to sound like Metallica. If you try to sound like Metallica, you're not going to sound like Metallica. You're going to sound like somebody trying to sound like Metallica. Metallica sounds that way because they listen to Diamond Head, Saxon, and Accept, and Motorhead, and all these bands.
Thin Lizzy. That's another one.
And Lizzy, exactly. So you go back each one of these things, and most of those people listen to everything.
Yeah.
And that's how you have to think about it. Like one of my favorite albums of all time is Night at the Opera, Queen.
Wow.
And it's because they do every style.
It is. Absolutely.
I mean, it goes from I walk to work on Monday morning, Tuesday, to being, into a love song, and all of a sudden they're doing a prophet song, which is the heaviest thing I've ever heard in my life.
That thing is incredible. I love that song. Yeah.
And, then you get to Bohemian Rhapsody, and, you have all these different things. So when you somebody says, what kind of band is Queen? They play music.
Yeah, they do.
You
100%.
know? And you're never pushed into that thing. You know, if you're,
No.
if you're only one direction, that's all you're going to be. And the problem is, it's going to show, and people that don't like that are not going to like you.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether you're in it, it's kind of like there used to be the big thing of, oh, I don't want to sell out. Really? That's stupid. That's like saying, oh, they're offering me a raise and a promotion, but I have to wear a tie. I'm not doing that. You're an idiot.
That's exactly. You're 100%, man.
Yeah. And it's like you had to have enjoyed music long enough to get good at it. You know, it's like playing video games. You know, you're basically being paid to do something that you loved, and now you're being paid to. You know, whether it's playing baseball and you're getting paid to play it. You know, whatever, you are doing something that you had to have enjoyed long enough to get good, and to not want to use that to its fullest. You know, whether that be, you know, doing what you do. You know, playing music to help people. You know, get over, you know, things that are going on. You know, that's why people go to concerts anyway, to see bands.
Yeah.
It's to forget about, you know, that they have to go brick a house tomorrow, you know, or you know, deliver a pizza, whatever, you know, whatever it may be. Keep going back to that because I got to go deliver one in a minute. But you know, it's that you know, it's that all in how you look at it, you know, and it's I think the problem is a lot of people don't look at it as a profession per se, even though they go, oh yeah, that's what I do for a living, but they don't really look at it that way. You know, they look at, oh, I want to be a rock star. It's not, you know,
define that.
Not everything.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, it's like, do you want fame and fortune? Well, I'd love to have fortune. I would, you know, in a heartbeat, I would, you know, rather have that. The fame part doesn't come with the money part. Nope. You know, just because you're famous and people know you, that doesn't mean you're rich. That doesn't mean that, you know, because it is cool when somebody comes up and says, man, did you used to play with Ozzy? And you're like, yeah. You want a straw with that? You know, and as you're handing them their order at McDonald's, you know.
Yeah.
So that it's the whole get everything out of it, enjoy it while you can, you know, and don't take everything to its, you know, like if somebody says you suck, who cares? You know, it doesn't matter if you suck, because most of the people I've seen live in my life suck. You know, tons of people that I have albums of really suck. The albums are great, but they, you know, really the bands aren't that good, you know. But what they did to make me like them in the first place was awesome, you know. You know, it's one of those things that as you get better at your instrument, you know, now you're up here and you're like, wow, the guys I used to like are really talent-wise not as good as me. But you never think of it that way because you still put these guys up here, you know, even though you can play circles around those guys. Doesn't matter because you can play circles around them because you listen to those guys, you know. Yeah. It's like when I see, you know, it's when I first started playing with both hands on the bass, there was only a couple of people. I mean, there was people playing Chapman stick, which is kind of where it came from because I like Tony Levin. So,
Tony Levin and all that. Yeah.
But really there was like, you know, Billy Sheehan, a couple other guys doing it that most people didn't know. Sheehan was the only person like in a rock band doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, there were lots of guys doing it that you never see. Yeah.
Sure.
But, and nowadays it's more common because there's more people doing it.
Yep.
And there's more ways to learn it and see it. You know, the old days, even like Tony Levin, I had to figure out how to play like Elephant Talk, you know, bum ba bum ba ba dun dun dun, and he played it on a Chapman stick, which I didn't really know that much about. Because I knew one person that had one.
Oh, okay.
And I'd only played it a couple of times, but I still really never understood it until later, you know. But I had to figure out, how do I play this on a bass? and I'd figured it out. And because of that, I'd figured out other things, and then fortunately there were other guys starting to come out using both hands that I was like, oh, wow, that's a cool, I didn't think of that, and everybody, they all have their different styles, like Stuart Ham, his thing is completely different than how Sheehan does it or how I do it or Michael Mannering, all these guys, everybody does it so different, and you're going to pick up something from all of them.
Absolutely.
If you don't, then you're not grasping it right. You should, even if the guy is, he's really beneath me, but that right there is pretty cool. I'm going to try that. It's like, even, I don't like the fast, sweep picking and everything. You should still know how to do it. You should still go and learn you should learn how to play with your fingers. If you're a bass player, learn to play with your fingers, learn to thump, learn to play with a pick, learn to play it this way. You should know everything. Both hands, it's, and with guitar and bass, it always seems that people overlook that because they find the one thing that they want to do. I want to play like Eddie Van Halen. Or I want to play like Yngwie, I want to play, Petrucci, whoever, your God is, and you stick that way. But what's awesome is when you get somebody like Paul Gilbert, and Paul is just amazing. I just seen him again last week. I went. They played. Yeah. They did the last night of their rock tour. And Jeff Martin, Jeff Martin's playing drums. He plays on all my albums. And Doug Rappaport on guitar. And I just met the bass player that night. I didn't really know him. Okay. Good bass player. And my wife had never really seen Paul. She'd seen Mr. Big, but and I took her. And he's singing on about half the songs, but there's so much guitar playing.
Of course.
But he is the epitome of, I can play everything and you're going to like it. Even if you don't like this style, I'm going to make you like it.
He's so incredibly versatile that versatile is an understatement with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. It's funny because, like he does like a thing where he's doing some covers, and where he's doing his playing and he comes to the vocal melodies. And instead of just playing the vocal melodies, he grabs the slide. So all the vocals will be slide, like they're doing Stairway to Heaven, and he's and he's doing the slide, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah,
that makes you know, oh, that's the vocal melody. Because if he didn't, it would just sound like he's just soloing, and it would be, kind of monotonous, but it's that thing of, he can play anything that he wants to play.
Yeah.
And he'll still play something so simple and melodic and tasteful that holds you. Wow, I didn't think it'd go there. And then, whoa, blow your mind,
Yeah.
And I mean, he does that the first few times I ever went to his house, and he lived in Henderson, Nevada. And I went there and recorded with him, did a bunch of pre-production, and then I went back a few times later. They were doing a Racer X album and just hung out. And then we did some other recording there. And when he moved back to LA, we did some recording there. But so all of these times that I was around him it's just us, me and Jeff and him, or, me and the Racer X guys or whatever. We're all just kind of there, just nobody else. Nobody to impress. He's not trying to impress you,
No, right. Yeah.
And it would just always blow me away. We'd be talking about something. And I remember at his house, he had this acoustic that was on a stand, and it just action like this. I mean, like it was hard to even play a C chord or something.
Oh boy.
God, it was, I think it was setting there for looks because it was like an old Martin or something,
Yeah.
And he was telling us about this idea that he had for this Mozart thing, and he was trying to explain it. He goes, "Oh, well, here," and so he grabs that guitar. We're sitting there at his dining room table, and he grabs the guitar, and he starts playing this thing like it's his regular guitar. It's just
Yeah.
all these parts, and you're just going, what that? And I couldn't even make a C chord on this thing. He would just grab it and do it because it is so natural to him
Yeah.
that it's, because I know other guys that unless they have their guitar with their pedals and their amp, they ain't playing, not in front of people, because it might show a flaw in their playing that they have to have that. But then you have guys like that, they could grab a little ukulele and do it.
Right.
And you're like, wow. And that is because he never set limits like, oh, I only play like this,
Right.
And I think a lot of that has to do, he grew up listening to the same kind of stuff that I grew up listening to, the same kind of weird collection of stuff, that,
Yeah.
and then he got so good, and then he went going to MI, and then he was teaching there immediately.
Yeah.
All that. But he is, he's one of those guys that is beyond just being a great guitar player. In here he's way above people, and then there's, then some of these other guys that I played with that are just amazing. Couldn't tell you why they're, like they couldn't tell you what they're playing, They know what they're playing and they know how to do it. No different. Leslie, he couldn't tell you anything about theory. He couldn't tell you why this note goes with it, what key you should be playing. He couldn't tell you that. He knew what to play because he knows which notes go.
Yeah.
He just didn't know how to take these words and put it with the information he had.
Right.
And because I remember sitting on the bus one time going, oh no, it's easy. And I was trying to explain something simple to him. And he was like, it's like trying to show your grandparents how to use a computer.
Oh,
it's
boy.
so simple, but how do you tell
Yeah,
them? And they really know, they really know, but they don't know that they know,
It's
and
like a completely
that's
foreign language, but even though they're knowing they're speaking it, like it, almost like being, and with lack of a better term and no disrespect, it almost feels like when someone can't physically read something, but they can speak very eloquently, but they can't.
Yeah.
Something like that,
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really falls into every kind of category,
Of course.
It's that, but it's that thing. It's like you're this advanced in music, but you don't know how to read music. You go back to try to learn how to read music, or even better, this is a better way of thinking of it. You're right-handed. Now you want to learn how to play left-handed. That is so difficult.
Yeah.
Because now, even though in your mind you're here, but in your abilities you're here. Even though you know what to play and you know exactly what to do, you can't do it because it's so hard. It's like trying to learn a language after you've hit 25. It's hard to go back and learn a language. You can do it, but it's going to get real frustrating trying to figure out if it's D, dare, or DOS, and you're just going to want to say the.
I hear you. Yeah. I've gotten better at reading rhythms. I had a big hiccup on the little black dots, as I've called them. I've gotten to the point where it's rudimentary, but like I learn very much by ear. I have it's it's quite often the ears, and also chord charts and things like that, and really trying to makeshift my way into like, okay, I know some of this. How can I make it work in my advantage?
Oh yeah, and it's funny. It's all I can't sight read at all. I mean, I can read music, but I ain't sight reading it. I'm not reading it on the go, but I can quickly sit down and figure it out and memorize the whole thing 5 minutes before I'm going to play it. I mean, I've built that kind of
that's your muscle for that.
So I can still remember songs from when I first started. I can remember lyrics to songs from when I was a little kid that I haven't heard in like a Dan England Dan and John Ford Coley song will come on and I'll be singing it, and I can grab the guitar and probably play it right now in the key it's in just from memory. It's a great gift to have, and it's something that people should work on, because that's another reason I've been able to get gigs, Like whenever when I played with Fuel, I filled in for 2 months, and I learned the songs on the back of a bus going from Maine to Atlanta. Learned the whole set with the bass player
Wow.
and played the next night.
Wow.
I didn't really know the songs. I had a recording, like a board recording.
Sure.
So I got them kind of driven in my head how they go.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I didn't learn them. I didn't learn them because part of the deal was I was using his basses. So that way we wouldn't have a bunch of extra basses that had to be shipped.
Sure.
They didn't want his tech getting out of, the rhythm.
Right,
guitar
yeah.
goes with that.
Right.
They were different tuning.
Of course, yeah.
Several songs were different tuning. Some were 5s, some were 4s. So I didn't learn the songs until I got with him, because if I learned it and I didn't know how it was going to be tuned, because I could have played them all, and I could have played them all in one bass and never changed.
Right.
But this is his routine, so I agreed to go with his routine. So I had to learn them that way.
Yeah.
Which is why I got the gig, because I was able to do it. I mean, I've done that with several. Actually, recently, last year, so there's a band called Canyon Lights, really good band. Two of the guys used to be in GA20, and they were the opening band for Thorogood. And we had one run where they got a new bass player, but he could only do the first 2 weeks of the tour. Then they had another guy they knew from Boston could do the last 2 weeks or a week or whatever. But there was this like 3-show period right in the middle. So they got another guy, and he shows up, and probably not a bad bass player, I don't know, but definitely wasn't comfortable, didn't really know the songs, which made them not comfortable because they were trying to pay attention. So So after that show, George's manager said, "You should have just hired Rev. He would have done it." They're like, "We didn't know we could." So they called, so we had a day off, and they called me and said, "Hey, can you play the next show?" And I was like, "Yeah, send me the song list." And
exactly.
And I learned them. The next day, I learned them during the day, and did the show that night.
Perfect.
And it was awesome. I mean, it's, to me, it's more fun that way.
Sure.
Keeps the excitement, but
keeps you on your toes. Hey.
Yeah.
But it seems like you're already on your toes to begin with. It seems like you're always kind of. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm that way too. So I'm right there with you. What does the rest of the year look like for you?
I leave next week to go with Thorogood again. We go to Europe, and then we'll be back here for a couple more runs. Got some ZZ Top dates this year, and so then the end of the year, I'm off for the last 3 months. So
that's good.
We got the new Gun Driver album coming out. Vontae's Inferno, that album it's being mixed and mastered right now, so it should be out in the next few months. So maybe there'll be dates. I'm not sure yet. I do shows here and there, whenever I'm home, and pick up stuff here and there, and just kind of depends on what's going on and how I feel. The problem is most bands tour at the same time I tour.
I hear you.
So it's like, somebody go out. Hey, nobody tour until October.
Yeah. Well, Thorogood heading New England way at all?
Yeah. We just we're just up to
or just there, or
here in a couple months. Yeah, here in a couple months we'll be back up there. Not sure of the dates, but I'll send them to you.
No, cool, man, cool. Yeah, nice.
Right. So, and anybody out there that needs any bass lines, for hire,
Yeah, I hear you.
Full studio here, so
well, Rev Jones, it has been educational.
Oh, and I got to show you this because nobody.
Oh, please do. Oh, here we go. We're getting exclusive here, y'all.
Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't even played it yet, but it's my new. This is my
Dean.
The Dean. It's a Rev Caddy, reverse Caddy.
No way.
That would be a Cadillac. This is reverse. So this is number 3. My first one was the 6-string.
Wow.
Then the blue one was my second one, and then they just made this for me.
The splatter paint kind of deal.
Yeah, and it's got.
I like that.
It's got me on marking.
I love it. Is that
So,
set neck or bolt or?
yeah,
Wow.
I actually wanted bolt, but when we did that one,
Mm-hmm.
they for some reason a lot of people don't like bolt-ons, which to me I love bolt-ons because they got more sustain because there's more metal on the thing.
Yeah.
But so I stuck with the all right, well, because if it took off and it was a model that they were going to push, it would need to be like that.
Yeah, I get that.
So, but it's cool the way they did the paint coming in.
That is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, but
I love it. Wow, man. There it is. There it is. Okay.
But yeah, nobody's seen that. That's the first time I played it. I literally it got here. I was on tour. We played here in my town. I came home for like 20 minutes. Did a reveal opening.
As you do.
I didn't even know what it was going to look like, because I told them, I said, I just want a bunch of colors. You can, drip it. You can swirl it. You can
kind of have at it. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I said, anything cool, just surprise me. So
wow. Look at that. A rock rolling red plaid exclusive. And I think we can end on that. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah. All righty. The rock, the roll, the red plaid. And I think we can stop the tape right about now, y'all. And if I can tape, it's showing my. I'm getting there too.
For more of my original content, visit my website, www.andyconnolly.com.